internet. I'll be your host. My name is Manuel Chavez the Third or the Turd, depending on how you know me. Otherwise known as Manny. Just call me Manny. Defango is not my name. You don't walk around calling me Defango. That's a username. That is just an identifier that nobody used to steal back in the day, and I no longer use it as much anymore because, well, I can't use it on Twitter, so it makes me mad. So whatever. Hello, welcome back to the Dank Memes Trading Company. Yes, Dank Memes. But I don't really have that many dank memes or whatever. I just called it this because I figured we're gonna have somebody apparently coming on the show today that we haven't talked to in a while. Nope, we haven't talked to him in a while. So I got the whole Streamlabs thing set up. I was going to use my Streamlabs talk thing for this, but I'm using Restream right now because I can't. Well, I couldn't figure out how to figure that shit out in time. That sucked. But that's okay though, like everything else seems to be going just fine in my life. I mean, it's just kind of funny, dude. The new intro is the old intro, but it's the new intro. And that intro partly made by the fool that allegedly is going to be coming on the show. Allegedly, I say because I believes it when I sees it. I believes it when I sees it is what I say. You just believe it when you see it. That's just the best way to be. Nobody's asking you to do anything bad or anything. We're just telling you believe it when you see it. Yeah, but the whole intro is definitely pretty legendary or whatever. I mean, even parts of that intro have been reused in Donald Trump fucking like campaign ads and shit. Sure, they changed the car to a Lamborghini or whatever, fuck that. The DeLorean is where it's at. Where it's at. Yep. And I mean, Trump is apparently having a pretty ass good day today or something like that. I don't know what is really happening, but what I do know is that it is not a thing that I ever wanted to be part of again. Yeah. No. Don't want to be part about any of that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to be part of any of that bullshit. My G. Because you know what? There's a lot of bullshit that you got to be a part of. Yeah. Lots of lots of lots of bullshit in the world today. But that's okay. So as if you are following us or whatever, or if you're not following us, really, this is for all you that you aren't following us, or if you want to throw money at me or whatever, because apparently I am a grifter or whatever. I don't know. I feel like one sometimes. I feel like one sometimes, but I don't know if I actually am a grifter or something like that. But it's all in the days and the nights and what you do. But I always recommend you guys to go out through to our good old Griftcast link tree that's got all of the links to all of the things that you can do, follow, whatever the heck. You can even email us, join the Discord server. I mean, you just basically get access to all of the goody in little things. Yes, you get access to all the good things, which I only like the good things, right? Like I'm a man of many talents. I'm the man of good talents, but at the end of the day, I'm still not as talented as most of the people out there. Like I'm good at the things that I'm good at, and then there's a lot of stuff that I'm not good at or whatever. Although I have no problem in trying anything. This is kind of the funny part about being me. It's like never be afraid to try something and fail at it. And never be afraid to try something and just randomly be a success. Right? That's my day. So I guess since this is the Dank Meme Trading Company, I must start out with a meme. So as we are now waiting for this to happen, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video for you guys, and I'm sure you're gonna love it.
Humvee.
Oh yeah. Woo.
Bentley.
Bentley.
Humvee.
Oh damn, boy!
Humvee. Wait.
What? I don't know. That made me laugh too hard today. I don't know why. Is it because the girl is fine and the dude is not, and he's just like, Humvee. Yeah, Humvee. That was for you, J.R. Riggs. You're not even here, so you didn't even get to enjoy that shit. You didn't even get to enjoy that shit, which is fine. I mean, everybody's gonna enjoy whatever it is they enjoy or whatever. I enjoy myself and other things about myself, but I figured, we are doing a Dank meme trading company. We need to share some memes. Okay, awesome. Setting up mic and cam. Okay, cool. So it looks like you're gonna be coming up in here. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, folks. I haven't talked to good old Arturo Tafoyosky in a long time. I mean, long time. There's been many things that have happened, but I guess the other reason that we're even going to have him coming on in the first place is because I went on to somebody else's show and had a little shit chat with them. And really, I just saw that Arturo was on there and it was all opened up. So I just like, that was the face that I was making. Legit. So I was like, hey, what are you doing? At least that's what the way that I looked at it. And it made me realize at least a few different things. Cause I mean, I don't really talk about any of that old shit too much, but there's tons of groups of people apparently getting together, having, I don't know what's a positive way of calling it. I'm just going to call it a pity party. They're having pity parties about what's happened in their lives with good old Thomas Schoenblierger. And a lot of you probably don't even know who that is because y'all weren't around for the Cicada 3301 shit house. And that's what I call it, the Cicada 3301 shit house. Because, I mean, for all the good things that happened, there was also a lot of bad things that happened. And I mean, I don't really care about the cicada puzzles anymore. I think that we expertly define the purpose of what those things are and who is behind them. And then a bunch of people just want to tell me that I'm wrong. And that's fine. I mean, that's life, dude. That's the way it goes. I think, though, that it's good to at least come back and bring people on. And I think that we'll slowly but surely, hopefully, start bringing people back on. I want the Dank Beams Trading Company to be a situation where people can come on and just talk and be cool. But, I don't want to be the space that's like making kings or whatever. I ain't doing that shit. Because I liked having, people coming on and co-hosting. I just don't like it when, like I'm trying to do the show that I always do and somebody's interrupting that shit and putting like cat memes up and shit like that. And I'm just like, hey man, I don't come into your house and fuck your shit up. I don't even go to your house. Respect or no respect. I don't know. But I guess now to look at it, it'd be good to hear where he's been doing. I want to, at least hear a little bit more about what's been going on in his shit. He's been saying that there's something going to be happening next year. So I'm trying to at least figure out what the fuck he's talking about. Not for any other reason than just, to know, so I could at least be like, "Oh, cool, I remember him saying that or whatever. That's dope." But then we also need to get into hopefully a little bit of talk about well, what do we call them? We'll just say Jim Sorensen and stuff. We're just gonna talk, see where this shit goes. We're just gonna see where this shit goes, and then if it goes well, great. If it doesn't go well, great. We might even open it up so that people can come on and ask some questions or whatever. I don't know. I don't. I don't really like doing the open thing because then people just start popping in on the show whenever they feel like it. And then you're like, whoa, hey, I'm in the middle of some shit, bitch. So who knows? What's this? What's the Australian lady that was always with that vapor bag guy? I don't know. I can't remember. Lady Steph C, was that her name? You expect me to remember that shit? I don't even remember what I ate last week. And I only eat like the same 6 things every day or every other, every week. Yeah, nobody ever remembers the guy's name. I never met him, but maybe this is gonna spur on some of those other motherfuckers to be coming over here. Like, what's going on with good old Corey, aka the Phoenix Enigma? I mean, the Phoenix Enigma. And then what the hell is going on with that other cat? Another douche. There was another dude that was associated to all this. Like, there's a bunch of people that we need to talk to and just be like, "What up?" And speaking of people to talk to, oh, whoa, there we go. I could hear it backbeating a little bit
Hey,
with your headphones. But what's up, dude?
hey, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Yeah. Although I can
Awesome.
hear me in the background a little bit. I don't know what that's all about. Might be because you're not
Oh,
wearing.
yeah, I'm not wearing headphones, but
I
okay,
just
let's
need to.
try it again.
There we go. That's probably actually no, that's a little bit better. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
So how
Good
you
to know.
doing, man? Welcome to the Dank Meme Trading Company on the Griftcast IRL network.
Nice name.
I just came up with that right now.
Honesty above everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty honest on this show. We tell people we want money, and then they give it to us, and that's honesty, or at least that's the joke that I've been trying to run since February. Was it February? Yeah, February. I think I changed it in February. I really want to change it back, but I lost my Twitter account again. So
Oh yeah, I saw. Bummer.
yeah, it's because I'm a violent individual, very violent.
It's not easy being radical, man.
Yeah, I'm a violent guy. I said, hey, dude, you can't just drag the protesters out of the street. You got to knock them out first, or they're just gonna walk back. Like that's too violent. But
Nice.
whatever, that's what I get. I mean, I'm surprised that this channel is still up. Like, I don't know how I've been. Like, I still have the same AdSense account. It's not like I'm hiding anything over here, and YouTube still lets it exist, right? Like, I've gotten strikes and stuff. Like, I have had it to the point where I had like one strike left and I was gone. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here, right? And that's what's kind of strange to me, at least a little bit, because I feel like we never get anywhere anymore. There's a lot of maybe suppression, but maybe it's not suppression. Maybe people just don't give a fuck anymore. I don't really know. I just try to do this every single day, or at least try to do it every day. I haven't been as consistent as I have been in the past, I guess. Which is, like I guess how many years has it been? It's been like 6 years, right? Like
Almost.
like almost 6 years. And I just think about like I try to think about stuff in every now and then, and it just doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense where a lot of folks have been. So I don't know, like what have you been up to lately? Like what have you been doing? I mean, I know that you've been focused on, I guess, the Thomas angle still in some kind of way, but like I haven't seen too much of you out of you really since the whole like God, what was it? I think the last thing that you were putting out that I was like watching was stuff about the Wes Clark Jr. and American something or other. American psyop. I think that you were putting some
Yeah.
stuff out about that. Like that's where I think I left off with, when you were talking about what you were up to, what you were doing, and then you kind of like, I don't know, you kind of like disappeared where you like deactivated one of your accounts, and then you just really haven't been posting as much.
Yeah, I mean the channel which I had that podcast, which it wasn't necessarily promoting it, but I think that the podcast in itself really basically talks about a lot of the same people and the techniques that they use, like one of them being bubbling, like creating this Truman-esque type of show around a certain celebrity. And I see it right now, like in Jean Caviezel, right? She's probably surrounded by a bunch of people that just go along with whatever he says, and like, yeah, bro, you're Jesus Christ and whatnot. And basically, Wes Clark tells kind of like the same story, that but in his case he was uh Enoch. I no
Metatron.
Metatron. Yeah, Metatron. And yeah, I it was because of that, and because the podcast really helps us, I think, because he has some sort of he's kind of famous. He's the son of General Wes Clark, so it gives more credence to the things that said that we claim that happened to us, because we know, at least when I listen to Wes, like, oh, like I could totally relate. The final episode was a really bummer because they gave a pass to a bunch of people and blame people who I really think that didn't deserve it. Uh, so and most importantly, I was communicating with Jack Bryan when that came up, and I asked him, so can you explain me the "I the Spy" thing, because that was a major problem with Jim Stewartson and him, and even Dave Troy. Uh,
Jim.
they were adamant that it was Ezra Cohen Watnick, and no matter what I said, they basically fell for the trap. And in the final episode, they kind of like, they literally say that I the Spy was Thomas. So so where did that come from, right? The change of heart all of a sudden. uh so that was the real reason. I already had like my some sort of contradictory feelings about what how they been treating me, the problems of them paying me for graphical for the work that I did.
By them, you're
And
referring to Emily Bix, Jack Bryan, and like that group of people that were behind the HBO documentary and a lot of the articles that were coming out, or at
the
least some of
Vice,
them.
the Vice,
Vice stuff.
definitely.
Well, I mean, they were Vice, but then they also were HBO because Vice and HBO are basically,
Hmm.
well, HBO
Well,
or
it's kind of
Vice,
hard to
HBO.
tell, but because if you remember when the both documentaries came out, they were kind of like at odds, or they started this weird fight on the internet, basically.
But that was
uh,
manufactured.
yeah. So it's hard to tell, but I can tell you that again, when things start getting weird, when at first first 2 months that I was basically telling them everything that I know, or what I've researched, everything was okay, but suddenly it started to change, and Jim Stewartson started to become a troll, and that was never like the agreement. Supposedly he was just gonna help me get my story out. And suddenly to see that, him like basically doing what I told him not to, because he was giving what Thomas wanted, basically a
Attention.
reason to victimize himself even more. It was hard to even process. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you sending Thomas like threatening emails that he's just gonna use as a way to victimize himself even more?
Well,
Yeah.
dude, we gotta think of that though. It's like Jim's not one of those people that has. Damn, I'm hearing myself back in the headphone again. That screws me up so bad. I don't know why. Oh, hold on a second.
Well, if you see the he yes, the Neil Rauhauser connection is to me uh something that I've looked into. I really don't have it so together to be able to put it out, but without a doubt, like the whole when story went that came out of Jim Watkins hosting pedo sites, that was an op between Brennan Rauhauser. Stewartson and Aubrey Cottle, and that happened. So it's again, you really more if you're like in a vulnerable state, or like feeling that you're getting stagnated, or that things are not moving. It's real easy that somebody shows up and tells you, you know what, I'm gonna help you out. Uh, I'm gonna help you tell your story. I have this bunch of connections, and you're in a bad spot. Well, it's kind of easy to not, to just wanting to believe that was going to be the case.
Well, a lot of these guys that I talked to, especially like Emily Bix and the rest of them, they were all mostly just telling me very clearly that they're like, well, we talked to you, we talked to Arturo, your guys' stories are basically very similar, but we don't understand why you guys are like, having an issue or a problem. And I just told them, and I was like, I don't really, I mean, I feel like people are trying to force that, right? And I feel like it was more or less the Jim situation that really became an issue in a later area. To me, it seemed like I didn't have very much information about them. Like, I didn't really look them up before they came over. I just like, and I found out later that like they were much more interconnected than I had originally had heard. Like, number one, like I didn't even know Emily Bix and Jack Bryan were like an item. But now later on finding that out, it tells me a lot more about what was really happening during that situation, because they clearly didn't really care about what I had to say, because like their whole entire thing, the whole entire reasoning for putting me in there was to make me look stupid, right? Like to make me look like not like anybody credible, so that they could just basically build up on this issue with Jim Watkins. And it was just, to me, like stupid, because those guys like never, I mean, they just never, to me, had the ability to do that. And a lot of that seemed to be coming from that dude, Frederick Brennan, who I had talked to, right? Like, I talked to him. I was like, bro, like, this is my reasoning for doing all of this. You don't have to believe me. It's fine. But, like, going after Jim using QAnon is not what we need. Like, I asked him not to do that shit, and he just didn't think about it, and like, to me, it just never, it really like killed any, not credibility, but it hurt me. And then the fact that they like never even talked to you or put you up there to really discuss any of the Thomas stuff kind of like gave me everything that I needed to know about those folks. And just to be perfectly honest, I never talked to that other dude. Never even heard, like, I didn't even know that was happening.
With who? Excuse me. To
With
Brennan?
not Brennan, but when they were making the HBO documentary, I had heard about it, but I didn't, like, I never heard, talked to, spoke with any of those folks. I had just known that during the Vice thing, they said that they had people listening in, like they had an iPad with a Zoom call on it that was like listening into us. So they were interviewing me, right, and asking their questions, but then somebody from the iPad would be like, wait, hold on, ask him that again, or have him say that again, or redo that one in a different way because a car was driving by and we couldn't hear it. So later on, it made me seem to, like, once I saw that second documentary come out, I realized that they were totally focused on the Jim Watkins angle. And then Jim shows up, and then it was very similar to how when QAnon started coming up, we had people fighting on both sides. It's very, like they're running the same kind of op, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I don't know, with Jim now, like, how do you feel about him getting sued? Like, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
It was just, orgasmic. I don't know how to tell. Yes, even if it was Flynn suing him, which I don't care, but I think that he has done lots of shady stuff. But it was like, yeah, like screw him, he deserves it. If I try, like when I put the Discord between him and I it was I think, clear evidence that it shows that he didn't come up with his story does not hold. He didn't come up within 3 days with, oh, it's Flynn, and I know everything about QAnon now because I was an ARG expert. That's
QAnon's
that's
not an ARG.
uh, it's a way more complex explanation once you really once there's actually lots of research. One could call it hyperstition, uh, uh,
Yeah.
uh, like collaborative narrative, sort of making things come to reality. As in, even Alex Jones, in one time he said, uh, "Oh," and I have this on one of my videos, but Alex Jones says, "Oh yeah, I wanted to Flynn to be Q, because if it was Flynn, then Q was gonna be real." So what they were basically doing was saying the things that they wanted to happen. So in those little keywords, you can tell that they were trying to make something real out of something unreal, just because everybody's going to believe it. And if you trace back that sort of mentality or system of belief, well, it kind of ties up with the whole I am, and because I'm going to put my will on it, and we're all going to put our energy to that, so it's going to happen.
Hmm. Well,
uh
I mean, them, just to TLDR, I have spoken to General Flynn's brother, Joseph Flynn, after I saw the space between Jim Stewardson and him, like arguing about the whole Flynn lawsuit. And I told them that I would be happy to sign like an affidavit for them or whatever in a lawsuit talking about my involvement in that whole situation, but just specifically mine, just saying, hey, I talked to Jim Stewardson. We've had extensive conversations about how this is not Mike Flynn, and here is the evidence associated with it. And my thoughts in doing this is that honestly, I feel like it might be a funny motherfucking thing if it actually like works, because so far it seems like the Joseph Flynn is, we've talked a couple of times. He's like, yeah, like I want to get you in contact with the lawyer. The lawyer's gonna basically kind of talk to you about, what we're trying to do basically with the
mhm.
lawsuit. And to me, it seems like an interesting angle because, I'm not trying to help Flynn. I'm not a big, super fan of him or whatever, but essentially, I don't want to see this because I don't want to see Jim be able to utilize it for fundraising in a
I know.
way that he is going to just be able, because that's what it's about to me, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I thought the same thing. The moment that I saw like the lawsuit, it was like cool, but now he has a perfect excuse to ask for money.
every day,
Yeah.
every day.
So,
And that's very similar to, like there's a lot of, to me, I see a lot of similarities in what I saw coming from Thomas, because like when we look at like when I first met that dude in person, like back in, I think it was like March of 2017 or whatever, like he was a different character, right? Like he was like, there was no way I could have known anything about this cat. And it probably wasn't until I think it was at DEF CON that I had actually talked to that other group that was recording me or whatever. You remember? Can't
yeah.
remember all their names, but
Yeah.
like that was a situation that really gave me the pause. And I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends at that situation, because here I had these guys, basically all around me telling me all of this like really insane shit, like stuff that I wish I would have recorded, right? Because I feel like to this day, what they were saying at that point in time is still much very relevant today to like how this whole cicada thing, I guess, really really got out of the loop, right? Because in between Michael and Thomas and some of the other people that I met, it wasn't that many folks, right? Like, had you ever had any interactions with that Michael character outside of, the emails and stuff? that we were sending together for building puzzles and whatnot. I
It
think in
was
2018.
with Michael Levine.
Yeah, Michael
Well,
Levine.
he asked me like a personal favor. He was doing the music for this Walt Disney TV series called Siren,
Yeah,
and
he
he
was doing
he
that.
told me, "Oh, can you create a SoundCloud account because I want to give the soundtrack the of the series to the people, and Disney is not letting me, so I'm going to send it to you so you can upload it anonymously, and so the fans can have it." So I'm glad
So
I didn't do it. Right?
he asked you to commit piracy.
Yeah.
Oh, not this guy. Hold on. Michael Levine music. Wait, oh, I forgot the A. I forgot I gotta put the A.
And actually, just as a comment, like Michael Levine is actually involved in making music for behavior modification. He and his wife.
Yes. And they were heavily involved in video game music too. So like you remember when he was working in 2017 with the Resident Evil franchise, right?
Wasn't
Like
it Assassin's Creed?
well, no, he did that prior, but I'm specifically talking about in 2017 when he was messing with us, right? That was when he was writing the music for Siren, and then he was also doing the Resident Evil soundtrack. And then
Yeah, yeah.
it always made me wonder because like a few years ago there was a release, like some guy had put out like a huge document about video games, and it was going through a couple of games like Fortnite, this Resident Evil game, and a few other ones where it was discussing how they were going to be implementing social triggers within the game. So like stuff to make you buy things, you know, power ups, this sort of stuff. And it was all based in the manipulation. And the main thing associated with it was the jingles, right? So like there was musical cues associated to everything. So anytime you had a pop up, there was also a sound. And as we know, Michael was one of the original earworm guys with his Kit Kat song, right? Like something so simple that people can remember all through it. So I
Yeah.
believe that you're onto something, and I agree with you in a lot of ways that maybe Michael has a little bit more because this guy's like working with huge names, right? Like he's working with
Yeah,
big people like Hans Zimmer, like Hans Zimmer.
exactly. They have this company called Remote Control, which is basically like this music database where all the top Hollywood composers can access. That's my theory that of how the deprogramming music came to be, or the ones that have like orchestra and not the shitty Thomas piano playing. So it makes more
Bro, can we
sense.
can we just like literally the dude can play piano?
Yeah, yeah, he can play the piano, but he's not like the shit.
No, he's not the shit. He just knows how to play. I mean, I wanted to make sure that we got that on record that yes, he does know how to play the piano. Like it was fun to make fun of him for that, but that was the one thing that impressed me about him. I will not because first time I went to Linda's house and saw where he was living and shit, which was a hilarious situation, let me tell you. But like he sat down in front of the piano and he played, right? And I made sure that none of the weird shit like the auto playing was on and stuff like that. Like he could definitely play. That's why I'd always make the joke that he sold his soul to the devil so that he could play the piano.
Kind of like Paganini or something. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
in my experience, you know, I never got him to see him play when he was here. And I asked him, either you play or get the fuck out. And he chose not to. So for me, the perception was different. Uh, Now I've come to terms that, yeah, sure, he can play, but like he says, like he's not the unacknowledged son of or of Beethoven and Mozart or some stuff like that. He sells himself too high. I think, and also even once you check the music that he makes, it's not really I haven't even like I tried to find like binaural sounds, something that could be messing, and it's really just like it's not there. Maybe the deprogramming video, because of how the images are pulling your view and your perception, like going into this like world, and then tripping on it, and then pulling yourself out with along the music, can create like that sort of feeling. But again, it's like when you go into those uh, like in Six Flags. I don't know if you've seen in Halloween the clown horror house. They have like this tunnel with little dots on the side, and there's a bridge on the middle. And you, when you walk on the bridge, and that stuff is spinning, you feel like
Yo, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Actually, um, those types of experiences happen all over the place. Like, I used to go to music festivals a lot, right? And those kinds of things were always there. So there was always locations where people were making trippy things. The only difference between just the music sound aspect is that, when you go to a festival, most people are on drugs, man. Like, most people are taking any sorts of psychedelics or other types of things. And I mean, from what I've seen, those people are some of the most pliable individuals out there. You could have told them anything and they would have believed you. And I think that there's a strong component here between how the music is being made nowadays and how allegedly like this sound thing. But thinking about it, like what we're talking about literally sounds like the plot out of an Austin Powers movie.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, it really depends. Like, if you believe that Thomas puts hypnotic music and has the power over you to put you in trance, then it's likely that that it's going to happen, because you are giving Thomas that power, or somebody else.
Agency.
Hmm.
You're giving them agency.
Exactly, that's the correct word. So it's really about just understanding how, a person who didn't even finish college, and is living in motels, who possibly doesn't even have an instrument, and who I remember didn't even know how to download a YouTube video when back in the day. It's it's hard to believe that he has some sort of software. It's more believable on the side of Michael Levine and all that, because he's literally an earworm expert. I
Right.
would say.
Well, if you think about it though, like look at Thomas. Thomas is what I consider to be a criminal, right? Like everything about him, the way that he interacts and acts, he's a criminal. He's got this like musical gift, and his musical gift is the thing that seems to have afforded him the station in order to be around all of these different people. Because hit throughout his story, from when we met him, from like way before when he was with that chick, it was always the piano that got him into these places, right? Like he met his wife, or what's it, that first wife or whatever, because she was also a pianist, right?
Hmm.
And then at the same time, every single person that I've seen him come forward, that's always been his hook, basically. So, like, every criminal has to have a hook of some kind, doesn't matter what it is, but it's that hook that they hit you with in order to get you into your heartstrings. Because the difference between somebody liking you and loving you is an emotional connection. And as we've learned throughout time, that emotional connections between people actually have a component to them that is like a metaphysical, an entanglement, perhaps, like when you feel somebody get hurt that you really love and it in your heart or something, or you got
Hmm.
that friend that's a pain in the ass and they do something and you're like, oh, that pain in the ass, I know it's him. So I think that what was established with Thomas and the way that we got had was, they utilized a construct, right? There's always going to be a construct that stands in between you and them. And that construct serves a myriad of different purposes, but mostly it is a deception, right? It's so that they can deceive you in a much better light. So, for me, Thomas didn't even really admit who he actually was until I had to call him out by name because I had gotten it from those other guys, right? And even at that point, he was still trying to save his like situation. And if you think about it, like that should have been my first indication that there was a bigger problem here, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't think that I didn't think that it was gonna be that big because I was like, all right, it's Hollywood. We got the Hollywood music guy. They're talking about Seth Green and saying, hey, you want to do Star Wars and Disney, and I was like, this all sounds really interesting, but
Mhm.
like I'll believe it when I see it. And here we are a couple of years later, like you're not seeing Michael Levine talking about Thomas anymore. I mean, he's just been able to successfully go on about his business without any issues. And for the most part, when I first spoke to him, like really one of the only times that I spoke to him without Thomas being there, he was kind of like, Thomas, yeah, that guy, I really don't like having him around. If I could, I would be rid of him, but I'm kind of stuck with him right now. And that, never really made a whole lot of sense to me it didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time. But it makes a lot of sense now, right? Because there's something in between those two that nobody has been able to uncover. There's some kind of like money loss, something outside. And I think it has to do with the Mozart stuff because when I recall meeting them, their big LARP together was the Mozart thing where they
Yeah.
had like the board for Mozart's house. It was from like his garage or some shit. They stole it. Thomas stole it.
I actually, and this is going to be like new information because, again, I'm there's lots of more interesting stuff that went around than Thomas. Thomas is like the weakest link into way more deeper and interesting topics. It's like that's a path that we were able to uncover this whole network. But let me tell you, I during this time I've been doing my homework. Let's say, and I managed to get in contact with the curator of the Mozart's Museum in Vienna, and we had like a 1 hour chat, and it was really enlightening. And if you guys want, I can tell you like the story, or just
Did you,
basically.
are you talking
Yeah,
about Polly Hagenauer?
I can't remember the name, but his shop is basically like next to the
Polly.
street of
That's
the
Polly
Mozart
Hagenauer.
Museum.
Like
Yeah.
that's the same guy that I had like spoken to, um, and he told me basically he was like, "Oh yeah, Thomas, I know who he is. He owes me money." That's what he was saying, and I was like, "Wait, he owes me money?" And that's when I had taken pictures of the board, sent it to him, and like, so is this what it's supposed to be? And then he explained to me what it was. So you're talking to that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
go ahead. What did you hear from him?
Well, he told me like how the Bruce C. Clark connection was actually real, because Bruce C. Clark was a collector of Mozart stuff, and basically back then Thomas was a con artist. He what he did was like the stupid Templar letters that supposedly he gave us. Create uh grab some old looking shit and put a story into it, and sell it like, oh yeah, this was the cushion that Mozart used to put his ass every time when he wanted to play the piano. So and there's people who would buy it, and especially Brucey Clark and others who actually were introduced to the Mozart guy curator was through Thomas. And even something that was really important, and normally we brush it off because it's kind of like, well, it's not hard to understand, but it's just a deep topic. But he told me how in 2020, Nasir Casemini,
Kizamini.
who Casamini, who is the director of the Nowruz Commission, who is also like the godfather of his son. He's a Turkish guy. He gave a lot of money to Flynn. Basically, that guy contacted the Mozart curator and told him, okay, so how much money does Thomas owe you? Because we want to pay. But they were also asking something in exchange, which was basically because that guy's signature like counts. It has value. If this guy says, this stuff is really a Mozart antique, and you get a lot of signatures of respected people, then you can basically lark that object or make that object more valuable. Is the example like of having a $1 bill, but if you by any chance you bump in, you get in an elevator with I don't know, with Eminem and uh, Bill Clinton, and you ask them both to sign that $1 bill, that $1 bill is going to be worth thousands, right?
Yeah,
Because
because of the signatures.
because of the signatures and because of the story, or how it came to be. At the end, that's what gives it value. So they were basically kind of exploiting the same system.
So they were trying to get basically something authenticated, is what you're saying?
Yes,
So
exactly.
like they were trying to give him an item and say, "Hey, this item is authenticated," or would they wanted him to give them something that was authenticated?
Hmm.
One or the other one.
Yeah, basically to Thomas was making like this pack that was going to be sold to Brucey Clark by this immense uh, amount. Also, Nasser Kassemi is a big Mozart collector, and that's how he started, right? And did a bunch of scams to that guy, and told the guy that his son had cancer. So the guy like lent him $30,000 or so.
Well, no, it wasn't that his son had cancer. It's like they put that money into the college fund for his kid, and then Thomas took the money out and then spent it and never put it back or whatever.
It's hard to decide which one is worse.
I mean, I don't know. It's just that's the thing though, is that every single time that we hear something about that, it's always like way worse than we thought, but it's always a criminal thing, right? Like it always boils down to him trying to get money in some kind of way. I mean, even from our time together, right? Like he was trying to get money out of me. I was like, I'm broke. I can't give you anything, but he'd always be like, "Well, what about all your crypto?" And I'd be like, "What about it? I'm not fucking moving any of that shit. You can suck my dick." And even more so, it's like when he was going after Beth, like I don't like talking about her or whatever because I don't like bringing her into this, but like it was the same exact thing, and he was trying to get money the entire time, and that's really what kind of put me off in this whole situation in the first place when this like thing when they were like, "Hey, let's start a business," right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm already in a business. Like, what are you guys talking about? They were like emailing me on my work email and shit. Like, you have all of them. You've seen it. I mean, if you read
Mhm.
all of them, like that
Mostly,
was every email that ever got sent to that like email account. So like there's stuff from like us building shit, there's passwords and stuff in there. Like should
yeah.
not be floating around, but uh,
Yeah.
I get it in a sense that these guys were running like multiple cons, right? Like there was the movie thing, like there was the movie angle where they were trying to sell things to AMC and then
Hmm.
Insurgent Films and whoever the fuck. But on top of all of that, like when that was going belly up, they also were trying to run this business, which didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to anyone, right? Like didn't make sense to me, but they apparently were going to be wildly successful. And then even after, like I left in uh 2018, like I don't see how like they were staying afloat. That's what I don't get. Like who was funding them during that particular period of time because I felt like Beth had gotten herself out of that situation finally and that was a positive, but they were still capable and able to do all of this stuff, right? Like 2018 to 2019 to 2020, they were still working, although they weren't doing very many puzzles, it seemed. Like,
Hmm.
that's the time that I kind of lose, like, especially 2021, 2022. Like, I fucking checked out. I didn't even pay attention, man. Like,
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
paid attention
yeah.
for mental
There
reasons.
was this other puzzle that they were. Oh, the Remnants. I don't know if you ever saw it. The Remnants. That was
No.
another ARG that Lisa Clapier. If you want to look for it, like the Remnants, the video is disturbing, and so on. But Tommy and Lisa were pushing it hard on Twitter, on Reddit, excuse me, and that's something that got kind of like brushed off. Also, he was promoting the bat cell feeder. He was he's been like a lot of people have been doing this for years. So of course that our learning curve to not only get a little bit of sense of what was going on, but to learn how to handle it and not basically destroy each other on the process. Well, it took growth and it took learning and not only about psyops and large, but really about that about empathy, about the things that they really don't supposedly pretend to teach, but they really never do. On the contrary, what you see is just offensive and just directly bite to to the neck and so yeah once you start figuring out how it works, well, again, you see how uh this person Thomas is just just in a certain level that people also get tired of him and just tell him to fuck off. Like you know there's a lot of examples of people that basically just get enough of him. But once again, the implications of him throughout the years on conspiracies, on ARGs, on really pushing concerning agendas, it's there, and that's what I have tried to share this past year or so, not really focusing on Thomas, but like the whole uh
Agenda.
yeah, the bigger picture, because it's not about making him important or anything. That's why I don't agree in thinking or seeing myself as a victim. But and I never have. I actually don't share what they do to me or anything because I know that gives them the high that they're looking for. So, I think
Bro,
that
the cops are coming for you. Thomas was right, dude. The FBI's on your door. Wait, what's the FBI in Mexico called?
uh, the
The po-
PGR,
the PGR? What?
yeah, the police republic,
Policia?
la policía,
The
cabrón.
federal police, motherfucker. Take
Yeah,
your pants off. What?
no, he wanted to get me through the narcos. Like if a narco is gonna see
Like,
his
Nathan,
post
what?
and go like, I better check that guy out. It sounds like trouble.
Yeah, they probably.
So,
He's probably got in trouble with the narcos. Let's be real.
oh, I mean, again, when he came here, he didn't want it. Like I offered him weed, but he didn't want it. He wanted me to get him coke and Ambien.
Yeah, give
Nice
me Coke and
combination.
Ambien. Nice little uppers and downers right there.
Yeah, man. You should have seen him like drooling and the ground. Like it was
Yeah, I
not a
don't know.
nice scene.
The entire time that I spent with him, he didn't have any drugs or whatever. He just smoked. And then he asked me, "Oh yeah, can you get me drugs?" And I was just like, "Bro, we're in fucking Texas. I don't know anybody here. Like, I couldn't get you weed if I tried. Although I had somebody hooking me up with weed though. I was like smoking it in my hotel room and shit. It was tight. And they
Yeah,
didn't even care.
I offered him weed and he would just smoke weed in such a you know, beta sort of like just grab it, and like those kind of guys who really smoke really annoying, like you know, and that was it. Like he couldn't take anymore.
Yeah, he
Uh,
doesn't smoke weed, dude.
it was just you know, again, many levels of things, but you know, at the end, we could spend our whole life talking about him, and that just feeds his ego. And I see the chat, you know, who knows, like, who's him, but you know, you come to a place where you really understand that you can set the chat up next to it, but at the same time take consideration what they were saying. Like they were saying that there was echo, and you know, people are asking for dank memes for like
Oh, that's just
uh
Susu being all like being a troll.
yeah. Oh no, I mean, like, dude, I told you, you can, I'm giving you
Oh
permission
yeah, that's
to
good.
use my bids that really have again, I learned to make them shorter. You know, it's just about like really having to learn how to give the message and how to be coherent in your words. Like when I got my channel back, actually, and I was listening to my old streams, I was like, holy shit! Like, no wonder, you know, journalists didn't want to listen to me, or people were so confused about what I was saying because I didn't make any sense. Like, you know,
Nope.
yeah, I
Or your
was just
audio didn't work
all
half the
over the
time.
place. Huh?
Or your audio was just like broken the
I know,
entire half
like
like the
all
first
the times
hour.
that all the times that I like the I completely forgot about the mute button and went for like 3 minutes. Then when I realized that it was muted, I was like so bummed out. I would just like finish the stream. So yeah, I think that with this new opportunity, and as people can see, like I've really practiced my English and the way that I speak and storytelling. So there's gonna be, you know, a difference in the delivery and the focus of the channel. Like I understand that I can totally be okay with us not agreeing on things, but that doesn't mean I have to hate you or do things that to harm you, because you know, we Jesse and many other people are not the problem. Actually, the problem is very easy to identify, and how what they do to, you know, just break us apart or just sow the you know, put the seeds of discord on us. But it's been for so long that we've gotten so good that eventually I think that we came to terms that okay, we just need to be cool with each other, just be patient. It's okay if we don't agree, but we don't have to be like all nasty, and I can be respectful. Go
Boom.
ahead.
And I was to say that that's exactly right. You know, that's a bingo. Like, honestly, like things happen, but like there's been so much shit that has happened to me in the last couple of years that, you know, like I don't even really worry about that stuff, because for me, it was years ago that I was like, look, like I'm not trying to fight with this guy. I just want him to at least, you know, like see what I'm trying to say and understand it, that, you know, like we might have a difference of opinion on what we saw or what was happening, but at the end of the day, like that really doesn't matter, you know? Like I've gotten away from talking about TS. Like this is the first time we even talked about that this kind of stuff in any length for a long time, because, you know, I understand that we're not supposed to be giving that dude any type of credence. That's why I don't even talk about him half the time, because he's not, you know, important anymore. There's a million of him out there, right? There's a bunch of him that are doing that same thing. Like there's a girl that hangs out in this chat that has like another YouTuber that has pulled a very similar type operation, you know, to what
Oh
Thomas
yeah.
would have done, but he did it to a chick. And then, you know, at the end of the day, he's sitting pretty with all of the cash, and you know, what has she got? Nothing. And you know, for a lot of these folks, it's because it's so easy to get manipulated online because anybody can create a character. That's why when I started my shit from the very beginning, like I said, hey, this show sucks, like because this is just me, this is who I am. And a lot of people didn't like that. So I invented a better character called Defango, right? Who was this guy that has all these superpowers and stuff, but it's just me, like naming off all of the funny jokes in my head that I've ever heard, like I've seen something in pop culture, right? And it was me trying to like give people something so you could say, like if I was going to be an internet LARP, like why would I go to just such a small level, right? Like why would I just be like, oh, I'm like Mozart's son. I'm going to be all like, I'm the fucking son of God or something like that, right? Because then that's going to give you a lot more credence a lot more credence in some people's eyes. But really, essentially, like look at some of these channels that have come up outside of all of this. Like look at some of these people. Like I think Dom Luker is probably one of the greatest examples of this. He's on Twitter. He got a huge account, and all he does is rebroadcast the conspiracy theories from like, back in the day, 2016, 2017, talking about the gate of pizza, talk about QAnon type stuff, all he does is rebroadcast that material without it being that material. You know what I'm saying? He brands it for himself. And that's the new thing, right? Because most of the people that get into this are people that see an easy way to make money. Because at the end of the day, the criminal mind is always about making money. For Dom, he was in credit repair scamming because you can make apparently some good money doing that. But when that money started drying up because people were getting wise to the scam, he started tweeting. He started taking his big accounts that he used for the credit repair scam and morphed them into these new style accounts that are just spouting conspiracies, right? And we've seen it. If you believe something, or if you have a thought or idea that's you're already kind of in agreement with, and somebody else starts telling you something about it and it sounds
Yeah.
very similar to you, that just makes you automatically connect with them, right? And that's where it go back to Jim Stewartson, because that's what Jim Stewartson tried to do to me. I'm sure he tried to do that shit to you too. If you think back into
Yeah.
the very first conversation you had with him, look for that. Like look for when he was being like, oh yeah, I was hearing you tweet about, or I was seeing you tweet about this, and I was thinking this, and then like, do you get how the manipulation happens in the first place? Is because at the very beginning, these guys were not like coming at us to help us. They wanted us to help them.
Yeah, and eventually just use those scapegoats or sacrificial lambs and stuff. And yeah, they really uh it's really kind of like, now that I see, like I'm seeing the chat now, you see it, and it's just like, dude, like you're like, it's ridiculous. It looks so stupid. Like really update the LARP, you uh it's not only we've been able to figure it out and to do like really critical hits on them, and when they're critical hits because they squeal. You can't help it. Their appearance of talking nice and being like, oh, but what are you talking about? Of course that's not Thomas. Or
Of
yes, I'm
course
being
I'm not
honest.
Thomas. I
Uh,
am my own
uh,
person. I am
uh,
John.
yes, Thomas is my friend, but I don't agree with all he does. Like, that's when, you know, uh, and to see some people fall for it, uh, I had to really take, I have to do some actions, and it basically, yeah, going back to your initial questions, it's really like not public things that I've been doing, and some of them are going to be shown until like next year. But it's coming, and it's not even all that LARP updating. It's, with what we and because I haven't been doing this alone anymore. Uh, lots of I basically yeah had the luck of meeting lots of smart and professional people that actually like study this kind of social phenomena. And I'm basically like holding back. And so the time will come,
You're
believe me.
sandbagging. Sandbagging. It's called sandbagging. It's what I
Oh,
do.
nice.
I'm a sandbagger. Like I tell everybody mostly everything, but I always have like I got a whole bag of sand. I got a bunch of bags of sands behind me, and they're just covering up all that other shit that you don't know about, right? But that's what it is, a sandbagging, and that's a good way of moving forward. Like if you got things in the works, like professional people don't talk about the big things that are going to be coming up in the future other than mentioning that they're
Exactly.
doing something, right? Like I
Yeah,
don't do that
and then
because
yeah, it's basically just because I'm sure that by now they know that when I'm saying things like that, I have never lied, never. So I'm sure that at least it has some sort of background effect on them that it's eventually is gonna build up because when the techniques, the things they do, the how they do it. There have been a lot of people, especially after what has happened this past years, who have fixated not only on us but in this whole community like you have no idea.
I
And
got a little bit of an idea, but I mean,
well,
I
yeah,
see them in the fucking chat, and I'm just like, hide, 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 because like I get it to a point that's pretty large. And like I've actually been tapped at certain points to like help out with this sort of stuff, even though it hasn't really been that deep. And I realized that like I haven't had I realized a while back that like my role in all of this is pretty much done. Like there ain't much I could do because I already done burned myself, right? Like that's basically what I've done, to the point where like even if I wanted to be some type of like confidential informant or something like that, it just would never work.
I totally understand the burnout, but you have to understand. Just like look at how people are reacting in the chat about us talking. That's they can't help it, right? That's
It's because
for
they're
me.
fixated person.
That's glorious. That's for to see those reactions is just that it's burns them, and it feels really sorry, but it feels so good
I'm sure it does.
when uh, they get a little bit of their own medicine, and more if they have no idea of of, of what it's coming. But what I can say to you is that, like I told you once, the invitation that I think I acknowledge your role in all this. Uh, and what you've done, the good things, and not really focusing on the bad because
I didn't really do that much bad though. Like my bad things are me being an asshole and being mean to people. Being mean to people for reasons that people never understood. I don't think that people could, but like I acted in the way that I felt was necessary, and that's it. Like sure, I'm mean to some chicks or whatever, but that's always been who I've been. Like I'm not a very nice person. I'm like sandpaper, to be perfectly frank. And even when I'm like out and about working, that's one thing that a lot of people always mention. They're like, you don't seem to talk much. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really like to talk much because that's how you seem to offend people, and that's how bad things happen. And I don't like bad things happening in my life, so I keep this thing shut unless I'm on my show. And then outside of that, I don't really like to talk at all because I've seen a lot of bad things come out of flapping meat. Okay. So I look at this and I've tried to expand myself away from the whole Thomas situation. And I think I've done a pretty fantastic job of separating myself from anything to do with cicada. Like, don't even fucking talk to me about it. Right. Like, cause I just
Yeah.
don't care. And lately, the thing that's really been setting me not off, but giving me pause about everything that's going on is Nathan. Have you been paying attention to the Nathan situation?
Yeah, yeah. And actually have some videos that I made like of him back in 2017. Uh, and it's concerning. I haven't put an opinion out of it, but other than I feel bad too. I feel bad. Yeah, it's not cool to see him, suddenly screaming at this Thomas because again, he's giving him that power. There's really no Thomas there, but if he's on that trip, well, and even if he doesn't have people telling him, hey man, you should reconsider your boundaries between reality. You might feel or have the perception, but understand that those kind of things are also like some sort of trauma that happens like to people that have been like Christians for a long and suddenly become atheists and start living the life, and they start feeling like they're shit and start feeling physically like bad. And it's because of years of indoctrination and dogma where they have been accustomed that if you do this you're going to go to hell and forever. You can fool your mind or yourself or tell yourself a different story, but the neurological pathways that were forged into your head and into thinking in a certain way, those things are going to be real hard for you to change. So that's why I get people still getting triggered and all that, and it's what's more healthy is to be able to separate yourself. It's like whatever the people in the chat are saying, it's not going to affect me at all, or if it's time, I don't care. you know I read it. I read like it was funny, Babyface saying that I can't get a joke. And dude,
It's a
like
language barrier. It's fine.
no, but it's not only that, like I think that I've actually made funny videos,
Yeah, I
and I've
think you
never
have.
seen a funny video from him. Actually,
I don't think
the
Thomas knows how to be funny. I think he thinks he's hilarious, but he
he,
doesn't
he,
know
he
how to
does
be funny.
like this old dad jokes and shit. It's really yes, like cringy.
I
Uh,
gotta shout out somebody in the chat real quick to Super Guy Rob. He actually sent us a $5 super chat. Thanks, Manuel and Arturo. Good to see you two making peace. Much love. Heart emoji, peace sign emoji, and some sunglasses. I usually like to read them out like when they come out, but I missed that one because you were talking. But
yeah,
that's okay. I just want to make sure I shouted it out.
no, that's
Because
that's
that's how it's
cool.
supposed to be. I get what you're saying with this thing. It's like, we don't want to give energy to people, which is why I don't, right? Like, it's just not, I don't got a lot of energy these days. I got energy for, like playing some video games and going to work. And outside of that, like, I'm not really too worried about diving back into that stuff. That's why I don't spend a lot of time over in Jesse's streams because, I mean, I get
Yeah,
that, there's people that want that, but guess what? I don't want that. That's why I don't do it. So, like
yeah,
me
I
popping
get
in
it.
over there is like for me, I think the only time I ever even watch anything over there is like when Shay Ree goes and posts like a link in the Discord, and I'll be like, oh, wonder what's happening. Wonder what crazy shit's going down over here today. You know, but
Hmm.
it's respectable in the sense that at least they're trying to do something because there's still a community that I guess wants some type of closure or something out of it. It's just that I think a lot of folks haven't realized the simple fact is that they're just not going to get it, right?
Uh,
Like, like the closure
in
that you're
that
looking
way,
for,
no. Yeah, it's
you're not
like
going to get that.
I think the same way. Again, my respects to them. If they think that, or if they feel that it's helping them, well, go ahead. I can tell you that for what I've read and really studied, that's really not let's say a healthy way to revisit trauma over and over and over, or even giving trauma a platform, right? Playing those videos over and over, then like Denise Matthew, like why would she has such a little audience? Why would anyone would want to amplify her? When she's like, I can get more of a kick talking to the guy who cleans cars outside or something. But again, everybody's going to through their process, and I've offered my help, and it's still there if they want it. Other than that, it's about just not being a dick to one another, not putting us, between each other down. At the end, I think that we all uh, kind of have the same goal in some way, to have that sort of justice that we because we were deceived, we were fooled, we were used and put against each other, and it's been for years. So I do seek, retribution, justice, and it's going to I've been preparing for that. And it's also helped me like really narrow down what's that, realizing that really being I went sometimes in Jesse's stream because it really it pissed me off to see them like basically put up a red carpet for Janon and Babyface, and when all they did was trash me or trash Professor Dilly's paper, and they were like all they did. Or I didn't get it. It's like if I do a stream and I give a platform to all the people that have traumatized you or trying to traumatize you, uh, I wouldn't recommend it. It's just you're echoing and just amplifying something that is it's not even interesting. To be honest, it's just like, dude,
Nope.
other there's real there's real interesting information if you want to know how how uh perception and deception really works in a massive way, and it has been exploited. Well, there's a lot of sources of information, but you're not going to find it on people who constantly lie, who if they get triggered, they lose all the composure, which is very funny. And people when I listened in the Vice documentary, to listen to Thomas saying that, oh, humans only use 10% of their brain. Imagine if we used 90. Like that's a like a completely, that you can tell that he doesn't know shit about how the brain works. Like that was for me, like you just prove that you're so stupid. Or when he got asked about BQC in the Jim Watkins interview, that by the way, I don't know if you saw it, but Coolin was recording that interview.
I
There's a
did see
little
that.
frame where he kind of like comes into and then just fades back. Uh, so you know, it's those kind of things. It's like, cool, and bro, if you saw this guy just say, basically giving himself a pass about, oh, if I'm a bird watcher, does that mean I'm a stalker? I'm a stalker of birds. You know, it's and still to give him a platform again, it was a bummer. At the same time, it was cool because I got my video to put on the fifth episode of HBO, which was seen by millions and millions of people throughout the world. So not bad for your CV, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. I mean, my none of this stuff has really affected my ability to get work like contract wise, but like I haven't gotten work outside of a contract in so many years that it doesn't even like, make sense to me at this point, but I see how like these guys still come through. Like I'm just been watching the chat. It just kind of makes me laugh because like they're not even talking shit to me. They're talking shit to you, which is the
No,
funny
yeah,
part. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
get that. Like, what am I chopped fucking liver now? Like, Lestat's the big fucking bad of this whole fucking thing, and I'm nothing. Damn, dog, it's fucked up, bro. I can't even
No,
get
yeah.
any. I can't get a little hate in the chat. Nobody's gonna call me
What's
fat or
up with
something.
that? Let me call on my people, and so we can, fire up the chat and stuff and make some drama.
Yeah, no,
It's
like,
so fucking stupid.
yeah, it's like what they
Uh,
were doing with my channel back in 2017. Remember when they were buying the fucking subscribers on my channel and my alerts would just be going, da-ding, da-ding, and I'd be like, the fuck is going on right now? Like this is,
well,
and I'd have to turn them off because it was just going off every second. And I was just like, I should have known back then, dude, that there was something fucking off. But
well,
that's what I get.
uh-huh. Yeah, go
That's what I
ahead,
get.
sorry.
I said it's just what I get, like I try to think back to this stuff and I like would really love to have like that type of growth again, but then, like I've come to that sudden reality, that strange reality is that, those guys manufactured my growth. They even manufactured growth on this other channel. It says it's got 6K subscribers or whatever, but like it's not true, right? It's just not true. So
Mhm.
they're gonna continuously keep on like manipulating shit as they can, but like they're not the focus of what I'm going to be doing into the future, right? Unless somebody wants to come and ask me about something, like I've always had it out there, be like, folks, you want to talk to me about something, you need an answer from a question or something, I'll try. There's certain groups of people though that like I just don't even give the time of day anymore. Like if you knew and we had a conversation about this stuff and then a couple months later you're looking for me and you can't find me, I ain't got time to talk to you anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
exactly. And the more you avoid them, the more happy you see, the more you actually made fun of the lame attempt at trying to trigger me, the more triggered I get. And I think that for me, it's just, yeah, I really grown up of all that, of that, the hate of even caring uh of what, yeah, yeah, yeah. I really can't complain about my life right now. I don't know if you saw, but I'm actually learning how to make music. I got myself a launch pad, a MIDI, and I've been doing 8-bit like game kind of
no, I heard
music,
it.
and so it learning new stuff, also learning new, leveling up with my designs using Cinema 4D, which I really recommend. The new version has some a thing called pyro, which is emulates like explosions, fire, and smoke. It's like it's awesome. Or the new Houdini. Again, there's so many things to do rather than to be worrying about what a bunch of of losers that that I'm not gonna call them names, but
No, you can
yeah.
call them names. You can call them as you see them.
Well, yeah, just people who really for some, they they hate seeing you do well, right? So that's something I keep to myself, what I achieve and what I got. I throw things here and there, and but again, because I know that they the one thing that they can't stand is to see you happy when they really, you know the only thing they have is this fantasy,
Of
right?
negativity. Well, I mean, it goes back to like people talking about that shitty van that I bought or whatever. I still have that fucker. It's right over there. It
I
runs.
remember
It
that shit. I
starts.
remember that shit.
It just shuts off. Like it just turns itself off sometimes. So like I can't drive it because I'll be driving on the freeway doing like 80, and it'll just turn off, and then I'll just be like, well, I guess I gotta coast to the side of the road, and then I'll have to wait like 10 minutes to turn it back on, right? But
Dude, like I remember that I think you had your car parked and you were doing this stream with the air conditioning full on, and that's when it got
yeah,
like whack.
that's when it blew up. That's when it blew up. It blew like a hose on something. It was like a super hot day that day too. Like it is what it
Yeah.
is, like I caused it or whatever, but like ever since then, just shit has been shitty with that thing. But it doesn't matter. I got a Prius now. I got a payment, and it's way too fucking expensive.
That's why do you need like a fancy car or
I
just
didn't need a fancy car. It's just that I had like $1,000 in my bank account. So like I couldn't just go buy a shitty car because I had just bought a shitty car. Like I went and bought like a $1,200 like Ford Taurus that I had found that seemed like it was all right. I put like $1,500 into it to get it running good, and then I took one trip to basically Arizona and back, and the car basically was the head gasket blew on the way back.
Okay.
So like I basically had 2 broken cars and nothing, so I had to go get a car. So I went to like one of those bad credit lots because I have horrible credit because I don't have credit, and then I bought that. So I figured if I'm gonna get like a car, that's new or whatever, I'm gonna get something that I want. And Cherie, bless her heart, she let me drive her Prius for a little bit, like
That's awesome.
when I was there, and like that helped me out a lot, and I just actually enjoyed the car, just to be frank. Like I had AC, and then like it did the whole electric thing, which I actually use, right? Like because I don't drive fast, man. Like I go like the speed limit, and now in this car that I have, like I can only really go electric at like 42 miles an hour. So half the time I'm only going 40 miles an hour because I'm just driving on the battery, right? So like it's been this situation where I've been trying to like pay that thing off, and I've had to work, right? Like I've had to DoorDash, and I've been doing my contracts on the Field Nation, and like I think, let me just look at this real quick. I can't really show it because it's like doxes all my information, but me being on the platform, it's like tomorrow I gotta go like replace some back office PC, I guess, at like 6:30 at night or something like that. Nothing crazy. But when I look at my profile, like it says that I've done a lot of work. So like even outside of doing all the entire time that I've been online, like I got 608 jobs with 109 clients.
Nice. Well,
So
that's how you start with just just staying away out of the BS or the problems. Just in my case, I don't need much to live. I don't need luxury or anything. The audio equipment, and like I got also myself a graphic tablet.
Yeah, you got some fucking $350 headphones on your head too.
Well,
yeah, that's the Artist Pro. No, those are the Artist Nova Pros, I believe.
Yeah,
those are the ones that I want. I got mine are.
You know what we have here in Mexico that is that all the stuff that America doesn't want that turns back to Amazon because it has like this little defect. They people from here go to the States and buy like pallets of that shit, and they bring it over here, and so sometimes you can find like on also on Amazon boxes like this awesome I got like, where is it? Let me show you. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I would say you got to keep doing music. I had a friend that was we'll just say I had a friend that was I have a friend that is a multi-platinum recording artist. Oh yeah, it's a little NPC. Is that a Aki? Yeah, it's a Aki, right?
It's an Arturia, actually.
Oh no, it looks like it, but no, yeah, that's even better actually. That's
Yeah, it
pretty
has
nice.
the. I think you listened to Sonata Arctica. You know the keyboard player where he goes like,
Hmm.
well, that's all
My
here. And
favorite artist, Chet Faker, that's what he uses to play his whole music. Like I have videos for me backstage during his set, and he plays all of his set off of one of those, and then he's got like a thing with like a launch pad with just the buttons on it, right?
yes, I
So
got that one.
he's like in between just those two, but then he has like when he plays, he'll bring in a full band and then he will start the band will play and then he'll like use the looping pedal to like loop their music in as well. Like it's something that I was trying to learn from Super Tall Paul a long time ago, but
Mhm.
um I just was
Yeah,
like I'm like, damn dog, I don't know if I could do all that. That's like a lot of layering.
it for me. It was like completely. It was like starting from zero. Like I had experience on graphics on making videos, but the audio production thing is like a complete like different shit, and was based, yeah, uh starting from zero. But it feels like so rewarding, and and just a great way to pass your time instead of just thinking, BS, or just there's so many things to do, right? There's so many interesting they're really like mysteries. They're really things to learn instead of just looping on the same thing, or just caring about what people, who think they know, who have been, whatever. You know, we we grow out of it, and that's it. That's what I told you. I understand that even people could be confused about, oh, why is Lestat talking again to the family? Weren't they like sworn enemies or anything? No, I'm just saying that I can realize that we can have different opinions, but that doesn't mean that I have to put you in a bad spot, to call you name, to just to make you feel cheaty so I can feel good. That's not the point. I actually came here in the with and you can sincerely see it, and I think feel it, just to have a nice chat, and the plus was the chat is mwah, mm,
Yeah, my chat's usually pretty
delicious.
good, but the mods are usually getting rid of people like pretty consistently. But we
No.
just try to like do what we do, like honestly, I've moved along, I still play my video games. I feel like I'm going to be playing video games when I'm like 80, 90 years old. I wish I could, get back into actually streaming playing games, but for some reason I feel like, that's just not going to be the way that I'm going to get anywhere. So like I'm focused on trying to get this channel up. I've been talking to another YouTuber that was really popular, like Justin is Lost. He got suspended, but he's been doing like mentoring classes, and I'm like really just considering actually listening and giving his thing a shot because like not only did he provide results, like ever since I just interviewed him, his channel I think only had like 2,000 subscribers. He's already up to 9K, and he's just following this method, right? And his method seems pretty simple from the outside, like make a thumbnail, make a 15-minute video talking about whatever that one topic is, and he just did it consistently. He doesn't even live stream, right? He just uploads videos. So like I really want to get back into that. It's just that like I feel like I have a mental block at sometimes.
Well,
And
yeah, so sorry to interrupt, but just wanted to tell you, like, sometimes just hanging out with different people with different ideas can, I totally get the burnout. Like, many times I've said, like, fuck this shit, fuck everyone, nobody appreciates my efforts, and blah, blah. But, you know, again, it's just that. it's really hard to see the other possibilities of like what this, like just me and you being able to talk nice, and seeing the reaction of the chat just confirms something, that it's really not worth talking live,
About
but
them.
definitely we need to talk it in private,
Oh
and
yeah,
just
sure.
my brain going with ideas, and sometimes just somebody to tell you, hey dude, like, you know what, fuck all that stuff, like let's do this, like in my channel I want to
Hey, to
do
be
like.
honest, that's what I was telling you all them years ago. I was like, "Fuck Thomas and fuck all that shit. Let's just work on this other thing, and then I guarantee cool shit will come up." And I'm gonna be in Vegas in a couple next month probably, hanging out with somebody who go nameless. But
Mhm,
like back then, they wanted you to do like the video work for them and shit like that. And there's a lot of folks that I know that are stuck in these types of music contracts that someone would consider predatory, or like that does not allow them to release music outside of the albums and stuff, but they could
mhm.
totally go on tracks with anybody that they want and have that person release a song and they're just on it. So, like there's a lot of work that can be done out there with this stuff. Like, I don't try to put out this, like I don't really talk about a lot of these folks anymore because like I like since the very beginning of this channel, I've known most of these people, right? And I've mentioned who I've known. Most people just laugh and they say, "No, he's
Like
just
so many
lying."
times, like yeah, like I don't know how many hours you put in, I put in, that really, like, believe me, if they think that they're a novel topic that we act like in my that I want like to bring up or something, like no, it's boring AF. Like actually, like what I would, I was going to, if you weren't going to stream, I was going to do a little stream, and just I had
Can
my
you
my
stream now
camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
your channel? So it's back. You can do stuff now.
Yeah, yeah. I also have my control panel, but this guy who was doing this stream in the morning asked me to, hey, why you scrape all your videos? Like this is suspicious, and I had to leave. So I put all the videos on, but again, I need to clean that channel because again, like I have this one among many. Like I want to teach people the fun of like how to make music with the launchpad, and you look freaking awesome, the lights and all that, or how to like do a yeah, it's
I think I actually have that Launchpad software on my iPad
oh yeah,
from Novation. And then
mhm,
you're like, it says that there's like a thing that you can connect to it or whatever. I just have
yeah,
mine, so I'm pretty sure that that's the thing, right?
yeah, exactly. Let me show you. Oh yeah,
Because
that
I was like
this is
making music.
really like the funnest thing, and I got this as a birthday present. This is the funnest thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. The 104, the keys, are you like dee, 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 and then you can
Yeah,
push
exactly. No,
buttons.
and it's not only that, but it's pressure sensitive. Like you can go like boop, and yeah, it's this, fun as fucking instead of like yeah, you really feel it, and again, it's just seeing different things and getting inspired, educating with people knowing exactly like what we are doing. Like right now, there's nothing hitting other than we wanted to have a cool talk and show people that you can disagree with someone, but you don't need to be like a total shit to that person.
No.
You just, it's simple as that. Treat others as you want to be treated. It's basic, and again, to see the reaction of the people, like so pissed off, uh you know it's wrong that I feel it's so gratifying. Like, but it's just evidence of, you know, how could you be angry of somebody being happy or just
Because they're
moving
not happy.
along? Exactly. You
Because
know,
they
they
can't move on. They can't find something new. That's the problem. That's
Exactly.
always been the problem with them, is that they just can't find anything new. And I've looked and I've figured out, a couple of different things about myself, and like I've had some successes, I've had some failures or whatever, but to be perfectly frank, it's like, do I start trying now, or do I call what I've been doing not trying? I'm not sure. What I'd like to see though is just that people are trying to grow. I mean, it's cool that you're making music and you're just trying to like do something different, because that's all I really ever wanted you to do back in the day was like just get away from these guys, man. Just
Uh, I
just
mean,
get away.
yeah, just my task regarding them. Again, I'm seeking retribution. But I'm not gonna spend hours streaming. I'm not gonna spend like all my day like in Twitter fights and all that. It's just gonna be like what did like that one surgical cut, that I've been preparing for over a year, in which it has involved like improving my language, my vocabulary, the even the way that to tell your story is so important. That's what I'm telling you. But for those kind of things, it's just not smart to tell it to say it in public. That's why, you know, we don't. There's no need to brag about anything because the more real you look, the more vulnerable, or even how you one can accept, yeah, I fucked up, yeah, I shouldn't have been so angry at you when you were being mind fucked by Thomas, or yeah, things could have been different, but I really couldn't understand what was going on. There's that's just being human. That's how people can connect, can see that you're also like just a freaking a normal guy that got into a really bad situation, and just try to make the best of it as one can, as you one does what you can, right? No, there's no school for this, or anything. uh so I think, and I acknowledge your growth, and even how we are able to talk right now. And even if people think that people are saying like, oh, what about our boring talk, it's just because their ass is burning. It's
Either
they're
that
gonna
or
need
because
some
they're not getting what
ointment.
they want. There's people that
Other, yeah.
thrive on that type of shit, man. I know, like everybody can see that I don't thrive on it like that. I don't think I ever have, right? I think I've distributed to people, or at least the way that I've tried to do all of this is try to be as open and as transparent as possible. And like it's not an easy thing to do, right? Sometimes it pisses people off, and then people like there's a lot of people out there that look at me as being some kind of character, and like I haven't changed really much of anything here. Like I am me. I've seen other streamers, they got some way dirtier ass rooms than me, with like fucking bottles stacked up and shit like that. And like to me, like it's just the realism is what I want to keep moving forward with, because like the one thing that I can't do, the one thing that morally just doesn't work for me is just like this LARP, right? Where
Yeah.
and I know it's damaged my growth considerably, right? Like every time I get into a beef with somebody going against the grain, that kills my growth every time. And
Yeah.
yet I continuously do it because, well, I feel like if I did anything else, I wouldn't be being true to myself, right? And I think that if you're going to be true to at least what you're trying to do now, then that's good. Just do you, man. Don't, there's no
Well,
reason to go back into this old shit unless there's a damn good like outcome for it. That's why, I won't even lift a finger unless I hear about it and I can see it's going to be something that's actually going to go somewhere, right? Because
exactly.
there's been too many times that people have larped their asses off that something big was going to happen, and then it becomes a what? A nothing burger, or as I like to call it, a show and burger, which is a nothing burger. Just a funnier way of saying it.
you know yeah, again, that's what I'm, at one point you invited me to participate in other things. What I can tell you is that you know the there will be a moment in the future where your role is going to be required again, where a lot of things uh have to change, like you said, not to waste one's time, because that's the most valuable thing, and that's the what's worse. What I realize is, like, I'm letting these people like make me lose my mind. Why do I have just keeping track of the shit that they're doing and all that? But at the same time, that helped me to learn uh auto GPT and how to automate all of those tedious tasks. So there's enough body of evidence, and you can see it on my conspiracy theory channel. The collection of videos that I have, which is open, which everybody can download. I'm not ripping anyone off. It's just a vault. It's basically, if in any case your channel is taken down, well, at least in some place, your video will still exist, because believe me, conspiracy theory is like, uh, it's in a secure place, and no matter how many attempts they've tried, it has been completely nullified and even worked against them. So it's a safe place that doesn't have Google algorithm reading you. You can check the code. It's peer tube, which I think that you've worked with.
Yeah, I know what
Uh,
PeerTube is. Yeah, I
mhm.
know it's PeerTube. You didn't even fucking do a skin. You just changed the name.
No, no, because it was
You
just
don't
gonna
even
be a
have.
vault.
Oh, I know. You don't even have the signups turned on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was just gonna be a vault, and eventually people found it and appreciate it. So I don't. Yeah, that's what
They
it's
found it
for.
and appreciated it, or you sent them the links to the videos you uploaded, and you're like, "Oh, I got it right here on my laptop."
Well,
I'm just
it's
fucking
hard
with
to.
you. I'm
I
fucking with
like.
you.
I don't know where like people who how t- people like
I used it.
through the Fediverse or something. They like link your channel to
Yeah.
theirs, and so that just screwed.
Well,
Well, I
it's
have like a
every
bunch
time
of.
you post a video on there, dude, it sends it out to the Fediverse at the same time because PeerTube is basically like Mastodon or Miski. It's a Fediverse client. The only difference is that instead of it being focused on text posts, it's focused on uploading videos. So like whenever you upload a video, it sends out like a post of it to all of the Fediverse clients in the entire
Mm,
network. So that's probably why you were getting a lot of weird traffic because you were like, who the fuck is
yeah,
at
like a lot of
this website?
and makes sense, because like I have that automated. Everything that I post on there goes automatically updated into. It goes like posted in a bunch of other places. But I actually like uploaded like even movies. I uploaded the Mario Brothers movie, which I
You
loved.
trying to get fucking
Like just in the nostalgia. Yeah, I
bro?
really.
Nintendo is gonna fucking butt fuck you. I'm telling you right now.
Why? I wanted like
Have
Nintendo.
you
I don't.
seen, dude? They sent a guy to fucking prison for fucking playing modded games on his Switch.
Oh yeah, I mean Nintendo's always been like the bitch, and been like against the. I actually studied the whole, like, how why is it like legal to use an emulator, and the that whole thing. That's like a rabbit hole in itself, and it's an interesting legal loop, but it's not worth. It's just interest. Like if you want to look into something cool like that legal loophole, and how Nintendo has been trying to really put it down. Uh, yeah, it's interesting. Like
Yeah,
like you
Nintendo
know.
and Disney don't mess around, bro. Like you forget that I was a pirate. The only reason I could talk about it is because it's past the 7 year mark or whatever.
Hmm.
But like Nintendo is like those are the only ones that you never upload to your channels or anything that connected to Nintendo, anything connected to Disney. Just be careful with that shit, or at least with those movies, because like you're in Mexico, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to come after you. But I haven't really looked at the piracy laws in Mexico in a long time, and
Well, there's
I just remember a person that was in our crew was in Mexico and had gotten picked up in Mexico for the piracy stuff and got extradited to the U.S. or whatever. One of them
what
though,
I
she never got caught.
okay. Well, what I know that has happened is like if a company is using like Windows and it's not registered, then they can get royally screwed over. But because we're a developing country or third world country, and I really don't feel bad about downloading software that otherwise it would have been impossible. Like freaking Cinema for these, like
It's like
what?
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm not gonna let that interfere with my creative process or desires. And so screw that. And same thing with the music software and the samples. But at the same time is it's like giving back all my stuff. I put it out, and I like J17. I have you ever seen the videos that he has made of like of Cicada and putting together the videos that I didn't thought that even people paid attention to some of them. He made great compilations and even got more views than I did. And for me it's it's awesome, and it's
I
an
remember that guy.
honor. It's an honor. Again, it was a little weird when HBO
Lying tube.
got it put my video out because it was like cool, so HBO considered it good enough to use it, but they're charged. You can't see it for free. Uh, I tried to upload that piece of the video on my Facebook and got taken down. That really just like
Oh yeah, it's fucking HBO, bro.
yeah, but they were using my video without my consent, without
Oh,
and
it's their
so
video now. It's theirs now. They stole it.
yeah, that's
That's the way
eventually
Hollywood works, dog.
but eventually we came out cool with I came out cool with cool and
Cool.
cool was cool, and even if he got it has this enormous bias that it's like uh but yeah, man. Anyway, yeah, there's I think a lot of opportunities that we haven't been able to seize because we have the most, and I'm going to tell you this as because somebody that it's really knows their work told me the most important thing that you have, the most important thing that nobody can deny to you is your story. you know and it's all about how you tell it. Like uh how you capture it, how you express it, how you go through the struggles of it, and so people get invested in that story. And if you like put a like uh I can tell you like one of I'm making a certain website where you're gonna be able to get Shadowbox mugs. you know it's the logo of Shadowbox, and it's painted like this evil entity, and it's just playing with the irony of it because it never really existed, but it's kind of like
Oh, it existed.
yeah, but like
I mean, it didn't ever do any of the shit that they said that they could do, but it was there. I mean, there was it was an LLC out of Delaware or whatever.
yeah, but it's more like, have you ever seen the Netflix show like Inside Job?
Hmm. Yeah, it's like
You know
making
how,
fun of
how
it.
they
It's
play
parody.
how they play about the deep state and all that. Well, it's kind of like the same thing, right? We were part of some. Nothing can deny. Nobody can deny us that we have evidence, and so that's the best thing that you can that we can offer honestly, because going into details, it's we can miss a lot of things. We can make mistakes, but nobody can deny that Thomas came to my house claiming that he had pneumonia, took 9 Ambien, was slurring like just like you know just, on the floor. I don't even know how he I picked him up because he weighs like he was freaking elephant, like the elephant
It
in the
weighs like
room sort of.
350 pounds and shit.
Yeah. But that happened. No matter how I could get it, like how people say, yeah, yeah, Thomas plays the piano, okay, but when he was here, he never did. When I asked him, he told me that you know basically that I got him. So that's what and to see how that perception has haunted him up until now, that he has to bring it up, like, oh, people says that I can't play the instrument. It's just like, again,
Well, it's because
just
he's a baby, dude.
yeah. And
Criminals
so
are babies. Babies are
mhm.
criminals. When you realize that what that means, it's gonna make a lot of sense. Because when you're a baby, you don't have any thought of morality. You just take shit. A baby will just grab anything and put it in its mouth and don't give no fucks about it. And it's just there's people in this world that have always lived in that mentality, right? It's always just been, how can I get this as easily as possible with as little effort as possible? And then they get caught, they get caught up. What do? Just like a little baby. Well, they cry, dude, because they ain't got
Yeah.
nothing else, bro. It's because they're just running off of this weird emotion. And maybe it's because they were extra emotional, but I mean, we had the unfortunate situation of meeting, one of the worst types of personalities out there. And this type of personality, like this narcissistic personality that we
Dark
can't,
tetrad, to be more
yeah,
precise.
the dark
He's the
tetrad.
dark tetrad. Yeah.
Like everything that he does was there. Everything that we saw coming from it outside of that is still there. And I mean, we've done a great job at taking the story away from him. But then again, you're talking about story. Haven't Don't you understand like why my entire thing here is an allegory to exactly what you just said? Is that, my story is basically, you know, that's what it is. My story wasn't told very well because it's in this live medium that is still so brand new that people don't really understand how to truly capture it. But like, like I went through some shit. I shared the story with people, like I was there through the ups and downs. I let people in and see it. And I think that in the future, if I actually ever do put out a book or something, because I've written it down, like I've tried to be as funny as possible about it. Because to me, it's a funny story. Like I want my story to be a funny story that's kind of sad at times, right? Because it's sad because it's funny, though. That's the point that I'm like trying to make, because
Yeah.
I willingly put myself into this. I knew that there could be issues and problems, and even after that, like I think it's hilarious on how like ridiculous it got, right? And then even more so now that we're at, many years later, we have these new characters, and folks, half of them, I've never even talked to them, but they think that I'm this guy, right? Like this guy that just doesn't exist, right? Not even on the internet does this guy exist. And to me, like everything really just came up to a head when I was like doing this Eliza Blue expose from this chick that I knew from back in the day, right? And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, Tim Pool's group is using all of the stuff that's said about me in this like, crazy cicada thing. And they're saying, this guy owns a fleet of black SUVs. He's drugging people and fucking knocking them out. He's a gang stalker. He's the gang stalker, not just a gang stalker,
Yeah.
the gang stalker. Right. And I mean, that just kind of like, because I thought that I was good. I thought that I had put out enough and I have enough information out there because I've basically got everything out there. Like, people are asking me, well, do you have any more? And I'm like, no. It's called OPSEC. Do you think that I was just sitting around screenshotting all of this shit? Because in the event that the FBI did want to fuck me, I would want to make them cough that shit up out of their records, not mine, because mine didn't exist. And until people understand how that type of shit works, it's like, I went at this thing with the thought of never wanting to have to be the one exposing this particular side. And that's why it kind of got fucked up with this whole microchip situation, because
Yeah,
he fucked it
uh,
up. It wasn't me. Like, everything was going great, dude. If he would have followed the fucking plan and just stopped like I asked, like we fucking planned, none of this shit would have happened. But you know what? It was the ego, right? He wanted to keep it going. He was just like, yeah, fuck this fat fuck. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We don't need him. He didn't do any of this. And you're right. They're right. I didn't do any of it. I just came up with the simple idea. And I think that that's the problem here, is that nobody gets that's the point of the story. That's why my story is so insanely hard to believe. And it's because it's just so unbelievable that
yeah,
something like this could ever happen.
I truly get it, and sometimes when I'm practicing or just going over certain segments of the story, it's like freaking insane. Like,
It's insane.
yeah, but that's the thing, right? You have to tell the story so people can uh empathize with you. From that empathy, they reflect on you, so they uh feelings come in, and that's when you got a real connected audience that is aware, that feels that it's not being manipulated but educated, with their full consent. Like, if you're gonna grift, if you but you're being honest about it, and people are
It's
into it,
more of a joke
and make it
thing.
fun, right? Yeah, and make it just fun, because yeah, it's like the internet, it's YouTube, everybody's freaking doing it. But at least you know you're brutally honest about it, and you can laugh at the irony of sending me money just so I mention your name, and you feel a little bit important and get that little bit of ego boost. Be aware of that you're doing it, and do it proudly. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because it's just uh fucking YouTube, and that's the shit about. And yeah, that's the thing. So again, I it's been a great talk. I'm getting called for dinner, but
Oh, dinner
just
is like fucking 11 o'clock and shit, bro. What the fuck?
yeah,
Late ass dinner, dog.
I know, man, but
What the?
I
What are
know
you eating?
I'm gonna eat like pan dulce with
Mhm. But
coke
you're
chocolate,
gonna you're gonna drink. You're gonna. Oh, so it's like fucking a late, like a
like
late dance
sweet bread,
dessert. It's like a
sweet
dessert.
bread.
Pan dulce
Yeah,
is a dessert.
yeah, but here, like, you go, there's a bakery next to it, so it's freshly made, and you put in the middle of the table, everybody with their cocoa or their coffee, and you just dunk it in, and it's like real nice. But again, so yeah, just wanted to say thank you for inviting me. It's been a great talk. The chat was great. It was just uplifting, the kind of reaction that really, yeah, and not only to the people that try to be shitty or try to make me feel bad, but there were other, like, I saw a lot of nice comments even from people that I wouldn't expect it, and just wanted to tell them that I appreciate it. Like, you have no idea. Thank you. I trying to improve and to get better, to be able to communicate and just not make this so tedious, and just like, oh, it's this Mexican guy trying to speak English again. Really, like, so Yeah, man, it's been great, and again, invite people. My channel is the stat. Uh, I and it's right now it's a mess because I yeah, I put on all the videos again, but I'm gonna put them down. There's just gonna be very specific videos, short ones, really sweet. The quality of the editing, original music, and all that. There you go. That's nice. You know, you gotta change that thing on the top. Uh, you know, the Bring the Madness is a you know, just a little taste of the difference of you know, the level up once you see the 3D videos, or with the new techniques, or the music that I'm making, that which is just, I've been keeping it up just to 8-bit pixel music because I just like it. I you know, my brain functions in Mega Man music when I'm working. uh so yeah, it's gonna be real different, and even there's still gonna be live streams, and yeah, and there's gonna be premium content, of course, because I realized that you know, a big problem before it is that if you don't have that, you know, I'm gonna give you something really good, I'm gonna keep to it, but help me, you know, keep on doing it. I want, you know, if you enjoy it, and there's a lot of stuff, you know, that opens a lot of possibilities, you know, that again is not worth really talking live, but that, you know, again, we can keep secrets, right?
Yeah.
if
Well, I
if
mean,
they
I can't keep secrets. I'm a fucking open loudmouth, but no, I keep great secrets. There's a lot of shit you guys don't even know about me. You think you know everything, but you know nothing.
exactly. And they really don't know, because just as the way they act, you just give me the certainty that, you know, it's being kept secret. And anyway, man,
Well,
yeah,
it's been a pleasure of
they,
having you come on the show. I'm glad that we could at least chat. You know, It was funny when I saw you on that other show. I was just like, I want to go in here, and I'm gonna be like, like that would be like
I
me
saw
actually
everybody
saying.
like, I'm gonna go get popcorn, is like, oh my god, like, please be civil with one another, like, and that's just a really outdated version of, and that's, you know, keeping, I've been keeping myself uh like really micro dosing everyone here and there, because I wanted to, you know, when I come back, just to, for them to see that, you know, people actually can change, can get better, can, you know, overcome difficulty, have resilience, and just being just what we're doing. I think that should be at least an example that you can really get over, you know, stupid hate, and just, it's okay to have difference, but
Wait, hold on a
you
second. There's some
yeah.
guy over on the Rumble chat. Hey, real White House Grandpa, I'm Defango in the chat. It doesn't post as Griftcast IRL, but it's all right. If you were apparently waiting a minute for me to do something for you, you could just go ahead and fuck right the fuck off. Have a nice day. Okay, sorry about interrupting that. I just saw
No,
some.
it's okay.
I haven't had anybody talking in the chat and Rumble all day, and one dude's like, "Are you gonna be live for a while still? We're all great friends," and I'm like, well, we were just talking about how we were gonna cut it down, but I guess we read the chat logs for the guy. He just didn't know that I'm Defango, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, genius is everywhere, right? but yeah, man, it's been great. Thanks for the chat, and the nice comments that I got, and for the bad ones that were actually in some weird way made me feel better.
I'm sure they
so
did.
so anyway, yeah, man, you should. Oh, I also got my Steam account back. So, you know,
You lost your
if you're,
video game. You lost your Steam. How the hell did you lose your Steam? Were you hacking, bro?
you know, yeah, there's been like, yeah, we could. talk about that offline, but I got it back. And so if you're down for King of Fighter, Street Fighter, like that's my like.
King of Fighter, Street Fighter. I haven't actually played it, but I used to play on the. I want to get one of those controllers that they got with the buttons. The
Yeah,
stick
yeah, yeah.
ones. Not with the joystick though. Like I've been watching this guy online, the best guy. I swear to God, he's so good at fucking Street Fighter. He's just like on his keyboard. It looked like a little keyboard thing. I've
Yeah,
been
man. I
wanting to buy one of
actually
those.
the only time that I've been in Las Vegas was for the Evo tournament, and I participated in Street Fighter 4 using Vega. I got in like ended up in like 75 and 75th place. Korean guy kicked my ass. Since then, I kind of like have this bias against Koreans. I just want to beat their ass. But again, there's so much stuff to do, and even like I want to teach people how to use Auto GPT, because that's a game changer. That's like if you really understand that, it's like this ultra powerful tool that most of the people haven't even really have an idea of what is it. So yeah, there's a lot of things, and believe me, Thomas and all that,
You know, one
it's like it's not even good. It doesn't generate clicks, it doesn't generate views, not gonna generate super like no.
Hey,
I
when I
have
was getting my
better.
good views at the beginning of the year, I was using Chat GPT to write the descriptions,
Oh yeah,
give
me
me
too.
ideas on my journey, and then I even had him giving me all the tags. So if anybody's noticed that our viewership has been going down, it's not because of me. It's because I'm not using the Chat GPT shit anymore. Like I just stopped paying for it a couple of months ago. So like it's just not like I'm not adding all the tags. I'm not changing, and you can see the difference,
Yeah,
can't you? Like you
yeah,
can see it
you
just
want a
with the
recommendation?
algorithm.
Yeah, I use like RGPT on the descriptions, on the keywords. So I was using it on the title, but then I kind of felt bad. But I was telling you, a really cool tool that I would really recommend is Cognosis. Cognosis. That's even worth like paying for it. Like, believe me, dude, that if you don't want to go through all the trouble of setting up auto UPT, that tool has like 5 different kinds of AI. Has you can even put like a PDF and actually interact with that PDF. That and it's sad that I don't want people to be afraid of freaking AI. It's the next big thing, and if people are not aware of the things that AI can do, then they're gonna be uh, candidates to fall for AI made things. So it was just that, man. Thanks again. It was really cool chat. And yeah, man. Like the other stuff, let's keep it under wraps. And it's I'm sure that even your subscribers, a couple of surprises here and there. I'm sure that they and just I don't plan to go like I don't have any bad animosity against you anymore, because again I I realize that we can disagree and all that, and even if it at one time you go berserk on me, even I can understand that, and I
Just giving you
it's
what I thought you wanted, bro.
yeah, man, like
I'm like, I have no problem playing being the bad guy. You just gotta let me know that you gotta tell me what the plan is first. Like
that's
I could play characters. I could be actor. I always wanted to be actor, but you know,
again,
I'm
let's
not.
keep that under wraps, and yeah, but there's giving me a lot of good ideas.
Well, I
So
appreciate it.
anyway, not to keep on the mystery or anything, Thanks a lot, and have a good night, man.
Yeah, you have a good
Nice
one
chat.
too, Arturo. Pleasure having you here, and you're more than welcome to come on anytime. Have a good one, man.
Awesome, bro. Later.
Later. And thank you to Motive in the chat. I just saw that he became a member. Thanks, Motive83, for becoming a member. Longtime lurker, full-time member now. I like it. I like it. So I know there's some folks out there that are probably like, what the fuck is happening? And I mean, what do you mean? Like, do I seem like the kind of guy that like really holds a grudge? No, I don't. Because I don't. Like, I don't think I ever have. I think I've been pretty clear about what I thought was wrong, and I asked, to get apologized for it or whatever. And it was never up into me on half of his stuff. Like Arturo is doing his own thing, and I know some people out there probably have negative ideals or thoughts or whatever. And I mean, like we don't forget, but we do forgive. I'm not anonymous. I'm a person, right? I do forgive, and I will forget, but in this particular situation, it's like, I understand far greater than I think a lot of other people do. Like I understood a long time ago that people were going to be trying to manipulate him to get to Thomas, to get to me. And I mean, he went through the entire thing. Like almost exactly like I was saying it was going to happen. And now to see him coming out on the other end and being able to at least talk about it and understand that, hey, like I was never really trying to hurt him, like I was more or less trying to educate people. And at the same time, maybe he was trying to hurt me. But then again, the revenge is a very, very powerful emotion, my friends. Like, and I think I made sure to very, very well and clearly bring that stuff up to give people the understanding is that, like sometimes, human beings are not perfect individuals. Like sometimes you get stuck in the same loop. Sometimes you get stuck in negativity and you can't get out of it. And it's not just your fault, dude. Sometimes people are keeping you there. Right? There's people that all it really takes is 3 or 4 people to say the wrong thing to you in one day and your whole day's fucked up, man. And with the advent of the internet, it's just become so much easier to touch someone mentally speaking because of how much time we spend on these computers and do all this stuff. And I think that overall, you know it's not like we're starting a business together or anything like that. No, we're just having a chat. That's it. I'd like to be able to have chats with people and not have people think that I'm some sort of evil motherfucker or something like that, because I simply am not. Right, like I just want to be joyous and happy all the time. And I think that for the last couple of years, I have to apologize for not being that joyous, happy person that I started out being. And it's been difficult. People took that shit away from me. But today it brings me at least a little bit of joy because that's just one more thing down, right? That's one more thing I ain't got to worry about. I haven't even gotten that kind of conversation out of the guys from the Fireside crew, you know? We used to be friends for a lot longer, and then they got rid of me and just completely cut me out of their entire lives. And then, like like I thought we were actually like good friends and shit, but then I came into the realization that, we were business friends, and you have those kinds of friends, right? But they only stay around for as long as you're there. So, like, even then, like, I still haven't gotten that kind of conversation out of them, or even a hello, how are you doing? I hope your life is well. We know that you were in the worst spot imaginable and we completely fucked you, but we hope that you're still alive and doing well. I don't ever get that. Like I don't get that. And even today, it's like some people ask me, like, what'd you do if you saw them? Nothing. I'd be like, hi, how you doing, man? And I would apologize to them, be like, you know, sorry I wasn't able to, stay up to your high standards, but like I wouldn't be looking for an apology from them because I know I'm not going to get it. They're selfish people. It's the difference between somebody who's selfless and somebody who's selfish. Selfless person will apologize even when they haven't done anything wrong, and a selfish person is always just going to be me, 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 me. It's not about me, dude. I mean, me getting fired was about me, but It was more or less about them and how they saw me not being a part of their lives anymore as a benefit. And it ended up that, guess what? It wasn't a benefit for them. And they've never really been able to shake out of it. Sure, they've hired people that don't like me and, try to keep up the LARP, but so many more people know who I am personally in that field. And most of them are just kind of like, yeah, dude, we can't really ever work with you guys in any meaningful way because of what you did to that guy. And he was the most wholesome individual singing all your guys' praises. Like he was your stand. And you fucked him so hard. And he never deserved any of that. He didn't deserve any of that. So you know what? You don't deserve to be with us and working with us. And sure, there's some of the burners and stuff that don't like me that'll still work with them and whatnot. But then again, those fucking people, they're goddamn fucking shitheads anyway, and I don't want anything to do with them. But for somebody like Arturo, I never had any beef with him. I only just ever wanted him to listen to what I'm saying and take it to heart so that he didn't have to go through some of this shit that he went through. And you know what? He didn't want to listen. He went through it anyway, which is he's a fucking man. And that's totally all right. Like you can't save everybody. And sometimes people have to go through these things. And now he's getting out of it. He's going to be doing his own thing. And to me, it's just like, cool, like maybe apologize to some of these other people in the past offline or whatever. Try to be a little bit more real with them because I'm not trying to create any drama. I want to grow. I want this channel to be big and fun. I want to have people on here all the time so we can argue about stuff or talk different sides of the conversation. Like I want to have growth. I want this to be big. I want Griftcast to be something that people go watch and willingly give their money to and watch it more than something like Timcast show because they know that they're not going to get a fucking LARP. And that's really just it. Because I just can't LARP. I would love to start season 4 of the Defango show, but there was never any seasons. It was always just me being like stupid and making jokes and then people taking them out of context. So season 4 of the Defango show starts now. I hope you guys are ready for it. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I don't even know if it's going to be good. All I know is that I tried. And we're going to try. We're going to try hard. Things are going to be weird on this channel. You're going to see live streams and all kinds of other stuff coming out of me that doesn't make any sense. And all I got to ask is that you stick with us and you try to watch the videos at least for a second or 3 seconds so that we get the credit and hit that like button, subscribe. That's all we got to do. Share this shit. It doesn't cost you any money to share Griftcast IRL on your goddamn Twitter account or your Facebook. You could share me with your friends. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not even that funny. I just try to be, but trying to be funny, that's going to be me all day. All day. Yep. So I just feel like at the end of the day, we did what we had to do. And I think everybody did what they felt that they had to do. And it's all over, man. It's really over. Maybe not. It's not over for them, but it's definitely over for me. So what do we do now? I don't know. We just say, well, bye. I guess that's it. See you later. Have a good evening. You ain't got to go home, but you ain't got to stay here. I don't know what the hell y'all are going to do, but I'm out. Bye. See you later. Bye-bye. Or whatever.